After my last video about an egg slicer, I've been getting a lot of requests to make another video where I heat up an egg slicer red hot to see what it can cut through. So I'm going to be using a blowtorch and we'll see what happens. I've got a handful of items that should fit into the slicer that we can try out in the experiment. And I thought the easiest one would probably be this wax tea light candle, which will hopefully melt as the red hot wires go through it. And I'm removing it from the metal tray. So I lit up the blowtorch, and started heating up the slicer. You can see the thin wires heat up really quickly, and they actually start to move as they expand and contract with the heat changes. And if I dim the lights, you can really see them glow. Although they heat up very quickly, they also cool down very quickly too, because they're so thin. And they don't retain the heat for long. So I'm heating up the frame around the wires as well and trying to make it all as hot as possible. I'm going to put the candle in as quickly as I can, and I'm now wearing a glove so I can close the slicer. You can see that absolutely nothing appears to happen. And even if I add a little pressure, it doesn't cut through. It's just about melted the surface, so it sticks to the wires. So I thought I'd try again with something else, like one of these crayons. So I heated up the slicer again, and the same thing happened. It melted slightly on the framework of the slicer, but it hardly marked the crayon at all. The thin wires, which have a large surface area to volume ratio, just don't retain enough heat. They cool down too quickly, and if you do heat them up too much, you can actually melt through them. If we look at a kitchen knife, the metal blade is far bigger and generally thicker than the thin wires of the slicer. And if we heat it up with a blowtorch, it takes a lot more heat energy to make it red hot. But the surface area to volume ratio of the blade is a lot lower than the slicer wires, so it retains heat better. In other words, it doesn't cool down as quickly. So it can be used to cut and burn its way through some of the items I showed you before. Here I'm doing a stack of 5 candles. And it doesn't take long to get through this garlic. And it slices straight through this Minecraft head. You can see it's even burnt the chopping board. Pretty hot, huh? It chops nicely through this party popper. And even sets off the detonator. And it makes little work of these wax crayons. although I think I pushed a little hard here and snapped it instead of melted it at the end. And clean up the mess. For this one, I decided to slice it in a similar way to how the egg slicer would have. And the knife still retains enough heat to melt a piece of crayon afterwards. If you're a subscriber to my YouTube channel, you can make sure you get notified every time I launch a new video by clicking the little notification bell by my subscribe button and ticking the box. If you want to see more of my videos, you can click on the links or take a look at my YouTube channel page. Stay safe, have fun, and as always, thanks for watching.